For me, so I've been honored for you to have asked me to join and be a keynote speaker with my friend and colleague Mushfiq, and the topic that we're tackling is exactly what I think you're talking about is, and I want to encapsulate that quickly.
Yeah.
Because I think what I've been preaching and talking about a lot is that customer service is not a department. And I think a lot of our organizations use that term customer service and isolate that to a department within the organization. For me, and I've seen how this works in organizations that adopt this strategy, and more strategy, it's an ethos around having it be a culture within the organization. And so once it becomes a culture, it strips away that silos that you're talking about. Because at every level of the organization, there's an inherent understanding that in order for us to function as a business, we need the customer. And in order for that customer service department to function and to deal with our customer, the decisions, the conversations, the level of communication that we have internally need to all flow down in order to ensure that the customer can be taken care of, right? And so it's a cultural thing for me. It's not, customer service is not a department. And so where customer experience comes into play and have all these wonderful mapping and colors, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. I'm really just saying I'll enjoy that, but you kind of need to have a situation where it is joined with the rest of the organization. And so the CEO understands that the decision they make at that level, how it impacts the decision at the customer level. And that customer level is generally around the contact center or the walk-in staff behind the counter, and so on. So I think that marries quite well in terms of what you're saying. And certainly how I feel organizations should start looking at customer service and having this married relationship between the customer experience and customer service. And again, if it's cultural, I think you take away a lot of the pain. All right, so we're back. As you can see, we've changed clothes, not because we needed to have a dress change, but because we had some technical issues. And that initial recording was yesterday, and so this is another day of recording, which is why both Ali and I are in different clothes. So Ali, once again, welcome.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, apologies for the technical issues we had, but we're back again. To continue our discussion on the symposium. Who do you feel, or who do you think should attend the symposium? Who is the symposium geared at?
The symposium is geared at everybody that plays a role within the chain of customer service and customer experience at every organization. I would like to say, but the agent dealing with the customer should not be there. But then at the same time, the reality is, do they have a say from an organizational perspective on how they feel the implementation should take place within the interaction phase with the customer, the first phase? Do they have that right? Because remember, our businesses are black and white. There is, you have your role, you play your role, and that's where it ends. Once you've studied a bit or you've done well with your numbers, you get promoted. Then you have a bit of a voice. For me at the moment, it's a stepping stone. It's building a foundation where the conversation happens. Obviously, in time, I would like to have your top sales agents or customer service agents or whichever agents will first interact with the customers. That is
Yeah.
definitely something I would like to have in the future. But before that can happen, we need to have the individuals in the room who's involved in the actual process to ensure that that individual who interacts first is able to can interact in the manner that the culture allows at the company with the customer. Remember, the culture of the customer of the organization is very prevalent and very important for the customer to understand what it is that they're really buying into or selling into or whatever interaction you're getting. And it's something we tend to miss. I don't think we talk as much about what a company's culture is. We don't look at these things in a way whereby, but is the individual that's interacting with my prospective revenue? I'm going to put the person now as a bill. Sorry for that. But is that individual even adequate enough to can fulfill the role?
Yeah, so in saying that, you're really talking about leadership roles that influence that customer experience / customer service journey that the customer would at the end of the day experience, right? So it's really for your leaders that you are gearing this symposium for at this particular stage, given that I think it's the first one that you're having, but with the intent to drive a lot more going forward and making sure that we constantly having this open discussion, which I think is something that we need. We need a platform, I think, that we can just have a discussion frankly and make sure that everybody's on the same page, to the benefit of the customer, but also to the benefit of the employees and the business at large. That's how I would see it. And so that's why I support this, because I think it's such a needed event in order to get everybody on one platform and then I guess on the same page.
Lawrence, what I've ascertained, if I may come in here quickly, South Africa is quite far when it comes to customer experience. Honestly, I know some South African, I call them design thinkers, thought leaders. They are global winners. They are phenomenal. We have some of the, we are lucky, we are blessed with guys that are able to create journeys that is phenomenal, which includes technology, which is first world wrapped like nobody will understand. The only place where, and I would like to say my feeling, the only place that I'm seeing we as South Africans are finding ourselves is that we're kind of a denialist country where we are, no, it's okay. And I know whoever's listening to this podcast are going to be like, you just called us all denialists. And I say that in a way, and I mean, take it with a pinch of salt. Why I say that is, for us, everything seems to be okay. I get this from everybody. No, but it's okay. As long as we get this and that, as long as that box is ticked, it's okay. And it's not okay, because when you, myself, you, our family members, our colleagues, our peers, when we go out and we have to experience what the world has to offer, then we sit back and we're like, oh my gosh, but I do this for a living, and this is the treatment I'm getting here. And it's happening continuously. So I'm like, okay, guys, come now. Let's be honest a little bit here. We can kind of impact the reality of what a process should be like. And we can kind of get more organizations to look at themselves, because this also involves revenue growth, which is something we require in South Africa.
And obviously that revenue growth is going to impact scalability, or should I say, it's going to impact employment opportunities, right? So let me ask around the benefits of this in terms of the attendees. So I'm an attendee and I want to come to the symposium. What am I going to get out of this? You know, so I need to ensure that when I leave there, I'm going to be enriched, enlightened. You know, my world is going to be blown up, and I'm going to rethink things. but that's just me. What are attendees going to benefit? How are they going to benefit from this?
So the benefit at this event is pure education. And when I say pure education, it's not every day you're going to be able to have two speakers in a room who are currently top 10 speakers globally, when you're talking about customer experience on any and every level, you're not going to get that. Not at every event. Certainly not at the price they're paying. Secondly, I probably am blessed to have, when I talk from a local speaker perspective, the top 15 speakers speaking at the event with regards to not only customer experience, not only insurance, not only contact centers, but an array of various different topics. And then, of course, there's a big surprise coming. It looks like the godfather of customer experience will be speaking at the event as well. And we call him the godfather purely because he started this whole thing about customer experience. His name is Audrey Schroeder. We have Steve Towers coming. We have Benson, and I only call him Benson because Benson is a Zimbabwean that is a top 3 CX global speaker, and he speaks about CS in a big way, CX and CS. I could obviously go into the topics and everything, but I'm not going to spoil it for the listeners.
Yeah, that's fine.
The listeners need to also sit back for themselves and say, okay, fine. So you have this event. I do want to be better at what I do for my organization and for my future. Why not go and listen to these speakers? Why not get them into my network so that I can have continuous communication with these individuals outside of an event? And why not come back to my company and say, guys, but I've actually learned that our problems is a South African problem. But these are the solutions that was put on the table. Are we able to look at our culture, at our journey mapping, at our implementation, at our staff, at our personalities of our staff members? And are we able to look at the next quarter and try and just re-energize our organization? Sure. That is the reason why I feel that an executive, a CX director, a marketing director should be attending this event with an open mind, not looking at it from a pure CX perspective, but looking at it from an entire journey perspective.
So I'm an attendee. I want to register. I want to know where to register and how much does it cost. Okay. That would be my final question.
Final question is, you obviously, there's one of 2 ways you can go onto my podcast. That is such a biased thing to say, which is www.aloysius.co.za. And then obviously they can go onto the event website, which is www.csymposium.co.za. You can download the agenda for the 2 days at the event. There's a whole host of things happening at the event. And I promise you, it will be an event that you never thought you should attend, but that you are overly happy that you actually attended, because you're going to feel like you've walked into a world of, what word can I use? Unbelievable education. The venue is different. It's not at the venue that we used to. It's not a conferencing center. It will be at the Rondekale wine estate in Cape Town. And that alone should obviously open up the mind. I'm hoping Durbanville. I'm hoping the guys understand. I'm not expecting people to come and look like they're going to somebody's wedding, for lack of a better word. Bring your tackies with. There will be some fun things happening from a CS and CX perspective as well during the workshop breaks, but it will be all educational. And yes, we're going to have fun, and we're going to learn a lot about what we can do for you guys to go back to your boardrooms and start implementing a process that is built towards your culture at your organizations. And lastly, the price is, it's only 6,500 Rand to attend the event.
I'm very excited about it. I'm excited to get into a space where there's one level of thinking around customer experience, customer service. And I think, given that this is the first event, I think it's so important to get involved in order to ensure that the next event is even more spectacular from an education perspective, but also to take that education and understand how we can make changes within our organizations for the better, but from a continuous improvement perspective.
One last thing I'm extremely excited about, there's going to be training that you're not paying for. And
Okay.
I don't want to speak about it now, but I'm currently speaking with some organizations that's going to give this. And I'm a firm believer that no matter who you are, every amount of training should be happening on a daily basis for us as individuals, as human beings. You're always learning. There's nothing wrong with somebody telling you, listen, but I don't think that was good enough. Why don't you look at this and that? So what we are doing is our endeavoring is to have 3 aspects for you as a delegate: education, training, and celebration. So that is that's what makes our event completely different to any other event, is that we focused around education, training, and celebration, and that is what you'll be getting for your 6,500 rand.
Ali, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man trying to organize all of these things. And I think going forward, it'll be good to start seeing a lot more of these type of symposiums, conferences, just tackling the topic of customer service and customer experience.